Hi YouTube, I've been putting up lots of videos recently about books that I had growing up in the 80s. Most of them are little book sets, like Garden Gang, Fun Guys, Major Tom, Roger the Robot, the sort of Humpty Dumpty Club books, My First Library, My Nature Library, that sort of thing. And I've got a set of Munch Bunch books. I've just got to get one more book and then I'll do a video on those and put those on as well. And maybe the Timbuctoo books. This video is just going to be about miscellaneous books from the 80s. So this Haunted House book was one of my favourites growing up as a kid. Obviously brilliant because it's a pop-up book. So I'll show you, various sort of functions of this book as I go along. But I loved this book because it was such a kind of brightly coloured thing. And also, I really loved little monsters and creatures and that sort of thing. And I still do. And I sculpt quite a lot of strange monsters and things from various movies. And I do videos of those as well to put on YouTube. But yeah, I'm just going to go through some of these books, just show you sort of roughly what they are. Most of them probably, if you grew up in the 80s as well, you probably wouldn't have owned. But some of you might have done. And then hopefully it'll give you a bit of a nostalgic trip. So I'm going to be showing you 10 different books on this particular video, starting obviously with this Haunted House one. One of my uncles used to own this particular book, so not only did we used to, look at this at home, but whenever we went round my uncle's house as well, we used to have a little look at it. What was really nice about this is obviously having this read to you as a sort of a bedtime story. You'd see all these little spooky things, little ghosts and things. And then obviously it'd be lights out and you'd have to go to bed and you'd be thinking about these little ghosts and things and it'd be a bit creepy, but I used to quite like that. So the page that you saw a little while ago with the octopus in the sink and the other little pop-up monster, that was probably my favourite page from this book. But the page that you're just about to see as well when we turn over next is my other favourite page. Again, it's just because it's got like the most kind of unusual monster. Look at this thing with like nice curly kind of antennae sticking out the top of his head. Really cool. So anything really unusual like this, I think that's been a big sort of influence on my life and has made me grow up just really liking little monsters and aliens and little creatures. Yeah, I just can't get enough of that sort of thing. I love the way the little black cat just keeps popping up everywhere. So here he is in the loo, but he's in all kinds of different places. And it's a nice sort of ongoing theme throughout the book. This was one of my sort of creepiest pages, I think, when I was a kid. Little skeleton in the closet, bit creepy. And then, like, in your own bedroom, you'd be thinking, what's hiding in my cupboard or whatever. Then we've got this as well, where the sort of, curtains come back, you got a little ghost in there. This last page as well is a really good way to end the book. So you've got this big pop-up bat. And I don't know if you can see, but there's like a saw in the middle. I stupidly got rid of the sound effects when I actually made this video. But when you open and close the book, the saw makes kind of cutting noises against the cardboard. So that's a really nice touch. And I really love the actual cover of this book. Just all the colours, bright green, purple and pink. Really good kind of colour combination. I just really used to love this book. It was one of my absolute favourites growing up as a kid. Right, so that was Jan Pinkowski's Haunted House. I thoroughly recommend that. Hopefully some of you will remember it. Okay, next we have Frank Muir's What a Mess books. What I love about this is you got one book on the back and one book on the front, and they're flipped over. So you've got What a Mess and then What a Mess the Good. And you have to, flip it over in the right way. So you'll read one book in one direction and then suddenly the book will be upside down. And you've got to make sure you flip it over to read the other side. Okay, so this is about a scruffy Afghan hound, obviously, called What a Mess. What I also remember about this book is when I was a kid at school, the teacher set us a project where we had to do our own What a Mess story. And I think I did one that was called something like What a Mess Finds a Girlfriend or something like that. And I had to do loads of kind of little illustrations for it as well. I think it was like a sort of a class competition or something, and I managed to win it. Mainly, I think, because of all my little pictures that I did. So that's another reason why I really love this book and it means something to me. Next, we have this book, Trouble for Trumpets, a really brilliantly illustrated book. I think it's illustrated by Peter Cross. Um, and just like absolutely full of really detailed illustrations. So I'm going to flick through this and show you some of them just to give you an idea. But yeah, this is a book where I can tell like it would have taken a long time to illustrate it. Oh yeah, if you have a look here, it says Leon S. Hill's ENT ward. So that's when I was in hospital having my adenoids taken out. So it's quite nice for me to see that, spot that in this book after all these years as well. So yeah, look at these illustrations, like just absolutely incredible. Loads and loads of detail. And I just love these little things as well, where you've got these kind of, cross sections. There's a lot of like cross sections in here. And also, yeah, the kind of black and white images as well. There's lots of sort of things to spot within the pages as well, lots of kind of hidden items and objects. I used to love the way that it would give you different kind of, nighttime scenes, daytime scenes, and then different seasons as well. So it's very sort of atmospheric book. If you're reading it as a sort of bedtime story, it really kind of took you into the world of these trumpets. Yeah, do you see what I mean about these sort of elaborate cross sections showing the world above and then this sort of like subterranean world of the trumpets with their little houses underground? This sort of thing, really lets your imagination run wild when you're a kid. I remember owning this, but I don't really remember seeing it anywhere else. I don't remember seeing it like in the school library or any of the other kids having it or anything like that. So I don't know if it's a pretty rare book, but I haven't seen it anywhere since either. So um, probably, those of you watching this video, you've probably not seen it either, and it won't mean anything to you at all. But I thought I'd show you anyway because I think it's a lovely book. So anyway, that was Trouble for Trumpets, presumably illustrated by Peter Cross, and the story was by Peter Dallas Smith. Next we have Nicola Bayley's book of Nursery Rhymes. This is a book that when I was an adult I'd forgotten about it completely until my parents gave me the book back again. And then I flicked through it and it was brilliant because all of the sort of memories of reading it as a child all came flooding back. So it's got all these brilliant little illustrations like this. Really lovely for each particular kind of nursery rhyme. Again, for me, as somebody who kind of went on to train to become an illustrator, I can really understand like the amount of work and effort that goes into producing illustrations like this with just this level of detail. This book would have taken absolutely ages for this person to produce. I always find it really quite sad that there aren't so many of these books anymore where people have clearly spent, months or years of their life just producing them. Most of the books that I see nowadays have been done on computers and things like that, and I think it loses a lot of that, handmade quality. And I just love seeing this where you can see the amount of effort that's gone into a particular painting. You can imagine like the brush strokes and how long it would have taken. And yeah, I miss that a lot. So yeah, that's another one that I really remember my mum and dad reading to me when I was all tucked up in bed. And yeah, brings back a lot of memories seeing it again now. This next one is called Frogs, a Natural Pop-Ups book. So yeah, when I was a kid, I used to love, and I still do, creepy crawlies and little animals and going pond dipping and all that kind of thing. And now, as an adult, I breed lots of reptiles and amphibians and small mammals and weird insects and that sort of thing. And I put it down to, my childhood and looking at loads of really cool little books like this, being influenced and then going out and actually finding them in the wild and then, buying them as pets in pet shops and now going on to breed them. So yeah, I'll show you the sort of pop-ups as we go along, but you can see they're pretty basic pop-ups, but quite nice. Like look, this one with his little legs that come out, and yeah, anything like this, bright colours, lots of little functions. They all just are fascinating, aren't they? When you're a kid, you love all this kind of thing. And the fact that a lot of these mechanisms, although they don't work particularly well, they've survived all these years, so that must mean something. This little one here, look, where the little snail tucks his head in and the tongue comes out from the frog. It's a nice little touch. Incidentally, please feel free to leave a comment if you had any of these books yourself growing up in the 80s. It'd be nice to know that some of you have had a little nostalgic trip from this. Okay, the next book you're sure to remember if you owned it when you were a child, 729 Puzzle People by Helen Oxenbury. I've got a couple of books like this by her, and one of them I owned when I was a kid, and the other one my uncle gave me because his children had owned it when they were young. And I'll show you, I can't remember which one was which, but I'll show you the other one in a minute as well, because that's on this video. But it's just great, you just flip these over and you can make different people, and it's got a little bit of text to go with it that makes it more amusing. Really nice little books, and such a simple idea, but again, you've got to be the person that has that idea first. So this is the other one, 729 Curious Creatures. Same principle, but with this one you've got some animals mixed in as well, so you can create some really quite unusual characters, and again, like, really amusing with the little comments that go with it. Yeah, thinking about it, this is probably the book that my uncle ended up giving me, that my cousins used to own. Yeah, if you used to own one of these books, you'll definitely remember it, won't you? There's no chance that you're going to forget having one of these books. It's just such a unique concept. I used to draw lots of little people and cartoon characters and things when I was a kid. And, this idea of kind of mixing various kind of creatures or just parts of different people together really probably helped my drawing back then as well. Right, my wife and I both owned this next book when we were kids, Greek Myths and Legends. The illustrations by Rodney Matthews, who was one of my favourite sci-fi artists back in the day. So I came across this in a school library and got it out one lunchtime, and I just drew this dragon, just sat there with a pencil and drew the whole thing exactly as it is and shaded it as well. And I just loved it, it was my whole reason for kind of getting it out of the library in the first place, was just because of this illustration on the front cover. And since then I've gone on to buy lots of Rodney Matthews books, and yeah, I really love his artwork, and I've got quite a lot of his postcards as well. Okay, the next book I'm going to show you is just a little Wind in the Willows one. I really used to love watching this. I don't know if it was a series on the TV or if it was a movie, but this one where they animated all the little characters, I really remember, and I'm not sure if this book came with a cassette tape or not, or if I had another book that came with a cassette tape, but one of the ones I had as a kid definitely did. But I just used to love all these pictures from the animated little characters. This Toad was always my favourite, actually. Toad and Mole, I think, I used to love the most. But nice little book. Okay, this last book, The Real Ghostbusters, Janine's Genie, won't mean anything to most of you guys, but to me it means quite a lot, because there used to be this sort of book club thing where they used to bring round this kind of flyer with loads of different books you could choose from, and then you could pay for it, and then it would come to the school, be delivered to the school. And this one I chose because of this little monster on the front cover, and also because it's like shiny, sort of holographic effect on the front cover. And I really used to love holograms and shiny stickers and that kind of thing when I was a kid. So I chose it for that reason, a real bad reason for choosing a book. But then you sort of pay your money, and then you have to wait a real long time for it to come through. It's probably only like a few weeks or something, but when you're a kid it seems like forever. And I was really excited about getting it, and then like it came and I was really happy. So that's why this book sort of means quite a lot to me, because I just remember that. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe to see any videos that I post in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.